All right, good morning, everyone. Hopefully everyone's doing well on a Thursday morning. We're getting very close to the showcase. This call is for the vendors, so this is kind of your opportunity to kind of join us for some updates. And if you have any questions whatsoever leading up to the showcase, which is about 10 days away, so we're very close. But it's your opportunity to really ask those questions. We got a whole host of AWG folks on the line today to get those questions answered today. And if we can't get those answered, we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So as you guys joined the call today, you were muted. If you have any questions throughout this presentation today, you can hit *6 on your phone to unmute yourself, or you can use the Q&A button in the bottom right hand of the WebEx screen, and go ahead and submit that question, and we will get that answered. But with that, we're going to get started because we got quite a bit to cover today. First and foremost, again, I talk about this every week. Vendor registration, again, obviously we're over that, but if you don't know where to go inside of AWG, you're probably talking to all these folks. If you're in those lanes that's up on the screen now, but if you don't know where to go, that annual showcase at awginc.com is the email address to start. If you just don't know where to go, start there and we're going to get you to the right place. So I'm not going to go through everyone on this page because we've seen it week after week, but if you need anything, those are the folks in those areas and those area coordinators to reach out to. Learning Lounge educational workshops. The big one on this is if you are doing a Learning Lounge educational workshop, those presentations are due yesterday. So hopefully you have already uploaded those presentations. You've been working hard on them and they're in your box folder today. If they are not, I would say get them in there as soon as possible because we are reviewing those now for the showcase. Just to kind of set some expectations for those Learning Lounge and educational workshops, bring your own computers to those. I know we've kind of been hitting this hard every week, but bring your computers with your presentation loaded. We're going to have some techs there on site for you early on Monday, but if you can't make that, they will also be there about 15 minutes prior to your presentation. They'll help with any issues you may have. The rooms are equipped with a stage, screens, all the AV hookups you possibly need, clickers and microphones, typical workshop scenario there. And you're also going to have an AWG host that will really introduce you to the group inside that room for your workshop or educational sessions. So be there about 15 minutes prior to that so you can make sure everything works, for one, and two, your host will be there and make sure you guys got the bios and all that good stuff. All that's been submitted, we got all that, so we should be good to go. But the big one here is the PDF. If you have not uploaded your final presentation to Box, do that today. Box accounts. Surely everyone has one by now. If you got any questions around that, you can email annualshowcase@awginc.com if you're having some issues there. I've had a few reports of some folks not being able to get it because of organizational firewalls, not allowing that to go through, but we can work through that with you. Culinary stage. Michael, David, are you guys on the line to give an update on that side of things?
Yeah, I'm on. Hey, Jason. Hey, everybody. I think, yeah, the culinary stage is, I think, looking pretty good. David hosted a call last week with Gil and Rich from the team, just as kind of a last hurrah, just to go through details and set up for the stage. And I think we're looking pretty good. We had some good questions, good participation, and it's going to be pretty exciting this year. We're pretty jazzed in terms of the location and eager to see the member participation as well. So I think we have an outstanding lineup.
All right, thank you, Michael. We did have that call last week, as Michael kind of stated. That was recorded. I'll get a link to that and I'll add it to this page here. So if you did miss it, you're able to watch that. So be looking for that here in a little bit. Showcase website, awgshows.com. If you haven't been on it already, you probably need to. 10 days of the show and kind of get an idea of the workshops that are going to be, the schedules, the speakers, hotel information, which hopefully you guys are all booked. But it's a good place to look. And the same thing with the app. If you don't have the app on your phone, download the app. The website and the app are one and the same. And we'll go through that again next week prior to the show as far as, the functions and features inside of that app, so you guys understand how it's going to work. But we'll do that again next week, so we're a little closer to the show. Exhibitor forums, lots of colorful things on this page here because there's a lot of activity going on. So the first one at the top, the OPC exhibitor packet, that's your if you need ICE, if you need AV, electrical's the big one there. And I got a note over there in yellow, pre-ordering pricing ends on 3/10. So that's tomorrow, guys. If you need electrical in your booth, pricing goes up next week. So you need to get that done today. Booth diagrams and electrical placement with an X on the side of there. That's due tomorrow also. So if you have not submitted that to OPCC and uploaded that to your box, please do so. You got until tomorrow to do that. Complimentary furniture form. That's ferns, so that's your tables, your waste baskets, and your chairs. It's complimentary, but it just doesn't show up in your booth, so you have to fill out that form if you want it in your booth. So please do that. That again is due tomorrow. Sample request form and requirements. Sample request products from a product or a pallet perspective, they have to be labeled as shown in the form. So if I actually click on this special order one here, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up just so everyone can see that. There's a form here, and it has to be labeled this way so that they know what to do over at the convention center with that pallet. Oh. My internet's flaky from time to time. On this form, I'm sure if you guys click on it, it's going to come up. There it is. There it goes. So it has to be labeled in this way. So it's very critical that it gets, because that's what they're going to be looking at the convention center. That's what they're going to be looking for. They got to know where it needs to go, what show, and to what booth kind of deal. And then my big note at the bottom there, AWG trucks on site starting on 3/19 with Kansas City warehouse samples and special order pallets. So that's when your quote unquote stuff is going to start showing up at the convention center. Showcase equipment. Again, each vendor secure your own equipment. Hopefully we're all through this, but it's more reminders than anything else. We do have a concession supply list there. First come, first available. If you're still looking for something there, you can click on that link and kind of get a list of what is available at this point. Sampling rules, I'm not going to go through all this. There's like 4 pages of this, but we had a lot of questions come in about how to do sampling this year. So I wanted to make it very clear on this call as far as what those items were. We're pretty much going back to pre-COVID days. So we don't have to deal with a lot of that stuff, but it's simple stuff, safe preparations, barrier between hand and foot, it's all typical stuff you would normally see at a showcase pre-COVID. So I think we're good there on the sampling side of things. Showcase attire, set up on Sunday and Monday before 2 p.m. is going to be casual. So that's wearing jeans, t-shirts, all that good stuff. Monday at 2 p.m., Wednesday to Wednesday 11:30 a.m. It's business casual. Jackets are encouraged for dinners. So if you're going to dinner, go ahead and throw on a jacket. And then tear down Wednesday after 12 p.m. or noon. It goes back to casual because we'll be tearing stuff down and going home. Move in, move out schedule. So common carriers delivering to the OPCC docks. The request for the delivery must be sent into annual showcase by the end of the day on Wednesday, March 14th, which is next week. So if you have any of that going on with yourself, make sure you email annual showcase to let us know what's going on there. If you've already submitted again, confirmations and additional directions will be shared back to you next week. So if you've already done that, if you've already requested this, just wait until next week and we're going to give you some more information via email on that. And again, Fern, advanced shipment address. This was one question that came up over and over again. So it was so important. I went ahead and made a slide to it. So that's kind of where it goes. Big thing on that, if you are shipping it in, booth number, very critically important so they know where to drop that pallet or pallets. Move in and out schedule, again, going back to that. Sunday, March 19th, starting at 8, DSG and store engineering, got store services and solutions. That's all on the first floor. Come in and start going it. What we're going to do is we are going to zone, and I'll explain this here in a little bit. We did this last year, as we just had zones as far as when to show up. We just didn't want everyone coming to the convention center at one time. We wanted to kind of have some kind of control over who's there and in what area. So you'll notice that meat and seafood, I believe that date's even changed. It's kind of an outdated slide you'll see here in a little bit, but you'll see they're staggered a little bit depending on what area you are in. Monday, March 20th from 8 to 2, that's the first floor, the DSD and store engineering, store services and solutions. You got until noon to be set up. The second floor, you've got until 3 p.m. set up. So you got a little bit more time on the second floor. The reason for that is we have educational sessions going on that will start later on that afternoon, and we need to be all set up down there and ready to go because we're going to have members down there. Tuesday, March 21st, show starts at 9 a.m. That's when the show floor is open till 5:30. And then on the 22nd, it's a half day, starts at 9, ends at noon, and then we'll start tearing things down about noon on there. So it says 12:30 on here. But if you have any questions about this whatsoever, I put a link to this document out there. I'll update this document because there's a couple of points on there that are out of date. But if you need any contacts down there from a logistics perspective, that's going to be Eric Brewer. The Fern Expo, we've got, if you got any questions around that, and if you need something, reach out to AWG. You've got Wendy email address and cell phone, and you've got my email address and cell phone out there also. So lots of people to connect with if you have any questions. And this is just reinforcing the move out schedule on the 19th, or move in schedule, I guess. Lower level pre-function areas, 8 o'clock walk-in access. Docks are going to open at 10 a.m. The Expo Hall Zone 1, and you'll see that here in a second, at noon. And then Zone 2 will be at 1. That's your deli, bakery, and produce. And Zone 3 is at 2 p.m., the center store and VMC side of things. So what are those zones? That's kind of the big question in everyone's head right now. This is kind of what that looks like. So here's the show floor, and you notice the zone 1 is in red, zone 2 is in blue, zone 3 is in 3. So we staggered that a little bit just so we didn't have mass confusion going into this showcase. Wanted to keep it a little bit orderly. So if you fall in one of those areas, just go ahead and show up at those times. You'll notice the one out in purple out at the side. So that's kind of the lane that you have outside the showcase coming in. 8 a.m. is your call time there. So culinary stage area, this is when you first walk into the convention. Culinary stage at 9 a.m. Walk-in access starts at 8. Dock doors do not open until 10 a.m. That's just, again, another reminder from the previous slide. All the AWG initiative areas, that's the AWG folks, 9 a.m. for you guys. And then down on the first floor, again, 8 a.m. Starting on Sunday, you guys can get in there. The main thing on this floor is by Monday at noon, we are 100% set up there, really in preparation for those educational sessions. Because you'll notice on there, that's where those sessions are going on in those courtyard rooms. Booth numbers and sizes, again, it's another link. It's been out here for a while. Hopefully everyone has that now because you're submitting all that stuff to Fern. I'm not going to go into this. Layout wise, hasn't really changed a whole lot since the previous week. This is the second floor. As you enter the convention center, you're gonna have the culinary stage up there. It's where AWG Brands was last year. There's the booths. We're gonna have plenty of booths out there along with the culinary stage. If you go further to the left down that hall, this is what you're gonna. This is that hallway going into the showcase. So there's those booths. Again, that's the 8 o'clock start time on Sunday for you guys. And then the second floor, obviously, when you walk into the expo area, this is kind of the layout at this point. Again, not a whole lot has changed from that perspective. So we're looking pretty good going into the showcase. And then the first floor, that's kind of all the technology, services, and solutions area. DSG's down there. So lots of good stuff. This is where your learning lounges, educational sessions are going to be. So if you're doing one of those, this is where you need to show up at your scheduled time. And if you are a diamond and platinum vendor sponsorship level this year, we do have some meeting rooms over there for you for those folks that did say they did want one. So we did get those assigned to you guys this year. Registration is also good to call out on this one. It's down on the first floor again, just like we had last year. But we moved it a little bit. You'll notice it's over here between corridor rooms 6 and 7. So it's kind of back here a little bit at booth 126. So if you got any questions around that area, where's registration? That's kind of where it is. FAQs, again, not a whole lot to go over here other than there's a document out there that you can click on, get to it, and get some questions answered that you may have in the back of your head. We try to keep this up to date from this call going forward. And then timelines, next steps. I've crossed out a few things just so you're aware of what's going on. Registration, we are past that at this point. Any registrations that come in after March 1st are going to have a $100 late fee to that. March 3rd, booth diagrams are due, so hopefully you have that already in your box folder. And then March 8th, again, we're past that. That's your final presentations for the Learning Lounge and workshops. Should be in your box folders. March 9th, which is today, sample request. As we kind of stated before, those are due by 4 p.m. today. So you've got to get those in, otherwise we're not going to be able to get it to you. March 14th, common carrier delivery to OPC. The last day to request a door time is March 14th. And then March 15th, the day after that, that's the deadline for ordering ceiling signage from Fern. So if you want to get something hung at the Expo Center, we've got to know that by the 15th. And then the 17th is the last day for ceiling signage to be delivered for install. So anything that comes after that, it's just not going to be put up. And then finally on March 20th, the show's going to open. All right, so that's the end of everything. That's this week's update. Lots of stuff. Again, just a reminder that the annual showcase email address there, if you have any questions whatsoever, reach out and we're happy to answer those questions or get you to the right place. So at this point, I'm going to open it up for questions from everyone, and I'm going to go check the questions that are coming in online. One question. Oh, it was answered. Thank you, Wendy. Wendy, I guess, okay, you're in this. So Wendy, is there any questions that you've been looking at online that need to be brought up during this call?
The majority of them are pretty vendor specific. One question that did come through was what time badge pickup was going to be. That will depend a little bit on the registration booth being set up. So Sunday, I would plan on not picking up a badge unless we're down there in that registration booth area and it looks like we're handing them out. You'll just want to plan on picking those up on first thing Monday morning at the registration booth.
All right, thank you, Wendy.
One thing, Jason, I don't know if you saw this from Kate, but for those vendors who will be attending the IRI meeting on Tuesday morning, that vendor breakfast is going to be downstairs. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know all the details surrounding that, but I'm assuming that if you're participating, you do. So just want to let you know that the vendor breakfast will be downstairs that day.
All right, very good. Thank you, Wendy. Any other questions, or I would throw out there any of our AWG folks that would like to add maybe some color to what we've talked about today in your areas. Go ahead and speak up now.
This is Lori.
This is Kate.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Kate.
Lori,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to point out that all of the blocks for the hotel rooms, they closed about a week ago. So if you have not reserved your hotel room by now, you are on your own.
All right, thank you, Lori. Kate?
Yeah, just comments on the PDFs for the Learning Lounge and Education Workshop sessions. I know I'm getting a lot of emails about where to put them and all of that. So just a reminder, they go in your box folder. If you have a question about your box folder, let us know. If you can't figure that out, your host, your session host, is the one who will be reviewing it. So my recommendation is to get with them. And I know there's some of you that have emailed me to say, you know, you're trying to get it in or any of that, but that's who you need to be corresponding with. If you don't know who your host is, you can certainly reach out, but it is likely your department head or whoever your person is that you work with most often at AWG. So if you have any questions about that, let us know. But that's the review process for those PDFs.
All right, thank you, Kate. I see one question that came in. Will perishable products shipping from AWG be delivered to the booth? Wendy, can you speak into that?
As far as I know, I believe that answer is yes. I'll follow up. I'll follow up and have to get a final confirmation back, but I believe the answer is yes.
All right, thank you. All right, any other questions from you guys? 10 days away.
Jason, can you just review the Sunday and Monday setup schedule again and just, I mean, cover across all of the zones?
Yeah, so Sunday, March 19th, starting at 8 a.m. Excuse me. DSG Storage and really that's first floor. They're going to come in and get started. So really you can show up at 8 and go to town. Now this time is wrong here. We're supposed to be noon. So whoops, I click there. Meat and seafood. So at noon, in fact, that kind of goes back to this one here. Zone 1 will be noon. So that's your meat, deli and meat and AWG brands. Your zone 2 is going to be 1 p.m. deli, bakery, and produce, and then zone 3 at 2, center store. So just one thing to call out there. And really, we want to be done by 6 p.m. that night. So that's kind of when we're expecting you guys to kind of exit and then show up again on Monday if you need to. From a setup perspective, again, that'll start at 8 o'clock. Everyone that second day can come in. And you'll notice down here, meat and seafood, produce and floral, just show up at 8 o'clock. We're still just kind of going at it at our booths and getting things set up. You have until 3 to set up and be completed with your booth. And that expo hall is going to close at 3:30. So just be aware of that time there. And then going into Tuesday, obviously the show opens and then a half a day on Wednesday. I'm not sure who spoke, but did that answer your question?
Yeah, can you just confirm the time that the show floor opens on Monday?
The show floor is not open on Monday, so we're still setting up. The only thing going on Monday is you guys continue to set up. We have educational sessions that start at 1:30. That'll go to 4:45. So really that's kind of the meat of the day. From a floor perspective, the show floor will open up on Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Got it. Thank you.
There's dinners and everything else going on, but if you go to awgshows.com, it'll list all that stuff out for you as far as what's going on after that 4:45 educational session. All right, good questions. Anything else, guys? All right, I don't see anything else coming along, so coming through. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down today. If you have any questions, Annual Showcase is the email address go to, and we'll plan on seeing you guys next week. Have a great day and look forward to your weekends.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.